Hi, creators. Doro Kiley here with Creation Coach again. Thanks for joining me. I wasn't doing videos for a few days just because we are in the middle of putting together a new website and other things were drawing my attention. So I'm back. It was a beautiful walk today. Fall is just so invigorating for me. I love it. But anyway, today we have a great question. Let me see, where did I put it? Someone was inquiring, and I just really wanted to do a video about this. So it's what is the difference between physical proximity and virtual proximity? We all know what that means, right? In school or virtual or work, or virtual work. So one, obviously virtual, you're not really with anybody. You're just, relating through digital means. So, and when you're with somebody, that's clear, obvious. So I had to really think about it. What is the difference? So I was saying, is it just authenticity? Is it pheromones? Is it some kind of energy or vibration that you get when you're actually in proximity physically? Is it some other undiscovered sense that we have that we can pick up on when you're physically in proximity, or as opposed to virtual? So I really wanted to sit with this for a minute because my automatic go-to response was, oh, virtual is bad, and real people and places and things are better. That was, and I had to look at that. Was that just because I'm just an old baby boomer and that was my belief system? Maybe virtual is better. We're creating it all anyway. That's the bottom line of what I believe. We have created this matrix that we're living in, even though we created it pre-birth. So yeah, the question is it better virtual or not virtual? So I sat with this, and what I came up with was there is right now we're just at the beginning of technology as far as its potential. I think we are going to reach the point of anything is possible with technology, and maybe it won't even be us. Maybe we're just going to unleash some kind of an AI, but anyway, anything will be possible. So this brings up a big responsibility. Do we just go sleepwalking into this? And so the difference is if we don't have any technology and it's just you and me in a room talking, then life seems to progress at the will of the planet, or historical evolution or whatever. Or if we're put into a virtual environment, we are kind of shot off ultimately into anything is possible. And that's pretty fascinating when you really think of it. In the virtual world, it's the imagination. We are creators. We do tell stories. But we could end up, because we're already ending up relating to each other through these methods. So what it could go anywhere. It could go absolutely anywhere. And then it dawned on me that in Buddhism and many of the Eastern ways of viewing life is there is something moving through us. Okay, we know that. That's life, what we call life, moving through us. And we don't fully understand it. it's moving through us, it's moving through everything, but we don't fully understand it. And through the virtual toys that we are playing with, we're kind of attempting to mimic it, all the different things about the life moving through us. We try to create video games that where all the characters have basic things that Earth provides us, like gravity, right? And we have arms, and you could even have an avatar without arms. I don't know anymore, but basic laws are in place even when we're trying to mimic what the planet, the real energy moving through the planet. We're attempting to mimic people who are breathing and walking, and for the most part. So what's the difference? What's the difference? The difference is I don't think we're ever, and perhaps maybe we should never, go into there's always going to be something missing in the virtual world, and perhaps there is always something missing in the natural world too. But it knows what it's doing. We don't know what we're doing. But there's still always going to be something missing. There's always going to be this drive forward toward, whatever's next. Even if you're not, even if you are not a rational thinking, analytical mind, life is still going to move you forward. All the animals, all the trees, they are all having this level of some kind of life intelligence moving through them. So I don't think in the virtual world we're ever going to be able to duplicate that. We can we can have lots of fun trying to recreate nature, and maybe that would be a wonderful path, to really discover what is it that's moving through nature. But one of the more important things I wanted to kind of raise here was, if we are moving into a realm of anything is possible, that could be anything. I mean, I'm talking anything. What are we going to do with that? That's total, absolute, utter chaos. If everybody is just doing whatever's possible, I can't see a whole lot of organization or coherence or resonance or harmony. I don't hear any of that within that no rules, pull out all the stops kind of a free for all, anything is possible. What do we want to develop? Now, so I was beginning to say, in Buddhism and many other Eastern philosophies, what they recognize this as what they call the ocean of Maya, the infinite illusion potential of the mind. Can go anywhere. There's totally no definition. It's got just ability to do wherever, whatever. And without some form of guidance or vision or co-understood path, there would just be mass chaos. And so I've got a video that I'm going to share about that mass chaos as would be potentially created by AI, or anybody, if you have the skills to use, which we all will, ultimately, the skills to use this technology, these up and coming technologies. But how do we navigate that? Well, there have been many before us, and they have laid out many paths, and almost every religion has a path, and they're all almost identical. Paths of code of conduct, it's not a code of conduct that is enforced by law, although many religions will use those to enforce government. Well, I don't know, but it's used politically and religiously. But spiritually, what's the point of having a code of conduct, the 10 Commandments or the Eightfold Path? Those are two I know the best. What's the point? Is it just to make things easier for the law keepers or what? It turns out that these paths are required to create what you might call a less suffering way to a better, higher consciousness. I won't say better. I'll say more expansive consciousness. So it's a way of quieting the mind and allowing that life force to move through you, which I'm going to call expanding your consciousness, because you're identifying with that life that moves through you. So these paths, I'll take Buddhism. I will take, for example, the Eightfold Path, to have right view. That's what I gave a talk about a while ago, discerning rather than judging. You don't know why a person is doing that or how that happens, so judging them for it is wrong view. Discernment is required, just by everything, really. Even a plant can discern where the sun is. So discerning which way to go rather than judging and bringing that energy into it. The next one is right resolve, which is basically knowing what your intention is to as you move forward. What's your intention? Where are you going? To have a resolve. If your resolve is to ease suffering, then that would be a right resolve. If your resolve is to be the most powerful person in the world, that's what would be called wrong resolve, because that takes you in a more contracted direction. And that contraction is where we don't want our energy to go, because we begin to lose orientation there, and it becomes very dark. So the intention would be to have greater perspective, more awareness, and not so much contraction. Right speech would be the next one, and that's simply, words are extremely powerful, very strong, very influential. So the way we use our words, we have to be careful. So that brings that point in. The next one is right livelihood, which basically says do no harm. Don't, you see that in most religions, do no harm. And we, harming animals or a livelihood that is, adding to the, destruction of the planet or something like that. These are what would be called a wrong livelihood, because that would be adding to the suffering of others. Right effort is knowing when you're being just lazy, and being able to add more energy to what you're doing. And that's lazy is a power judging word, so I don't really want to say that. But knowing when there's a decision to be made, and that this is going to lead in that direction, and this is going to lead, and you end up going down the direction that is not helpful. Let's put it that way. So having right effort would be being able to stop at that very moment of that decision and make the right effort to go the right direction, where is going to be more helpful for you and others in the long run. Of course, right mindfulness. Mindfulness is just being in the moment, not learning basically how to let the thoughts go. They're not, obsessive thoughts are unhelpful, and learning how to let those go, and bringing your mind back into the present moment, And that usually means tuning into your senses. What do I hear? What do I see? What do I smell? What do I taste? So tuning it, feeling your feet on the floor. So mindfulness is being present, and also being present of other people around you, and being aware of what they might be experiencing or whatever. And right, samadhi is basically the more advanced concentration exercise. It's basically mind training, which requires a focusing, which is meditation. Something like anapanasati, which follows the breath. Focus. Some people use a candle. Some people use a mandala or something. So yeah, those are the path. That's the path. What's the point of the path? The path is to put us on the road. I don't know. What comes to my mind is driving in Canada once in the middle of winter. The highway, you couldn't find the highway because the highway was just the tundra. Everything on both sides, as far as I could see, was just white snow. There was no definition of the road. The only thing that was defining the road were these posts, because they deal with these all the time. You know, this is where the road is. So the posts are there, and people follow along the posts because they can't see the road. And the paths here that we're talking about, the Ten Commandments, the Eightfold Path, is the posts. This is the way you go. This is where you want to get to there. This is how you go. That's all it is. It's not a discipline thing. It's not a punishment. It's not a you better do this if, you know. It's a path to get to where we want to go. So that's a long talk right there. So basically, what's the difference between, I didn't really go all the way into this, the difference between physical proximity and virtual proximity is the fact that that right now there's a big difference between the two. Eventually, there's not going to be much difference whatsoever. So the question is, will there be anything missing? I don't think virtual world is ever going to be able to fully duplicate the natural world. So I think physical proximity, until we are fully enlightened, is probably, I trust, going to know a little bit more about what we're doing than the virtual world. You know, that could change. Maybe all the programmers will become enlightened beings. You know, and they will all take us into bliss and enlightenment, all through these games and whatever. It seems like they're the ones at the control panel. But yeah, so I think for the time being, physical proximity is giving us something that is not yet created virtually and may never be created. And ultimately, virtual reality may give us that ability to be immersed and, you know, have all the senses engaged. The one thing I wonder about is eye contact. Are they really going to be able to do eye contact that convinces you that this is real? I don't know. So let's stay creative.